What is the latest on Max and his injury?
Well, the latest is that it certainly looks like he's going to go Game 3. The Nationals have opted to be very cautious with him to this point. Dusty Baker saying that they could have had him throw a bullpen session 2 days ago, and really they could have had him throw a bullpen session yesterday to try and make his way onto the mound for one of the first 2 games of this series, but they haven't done that. They're taking an abundance of caution here with the process that they want a healthy Max Scherzer, and they don't want this being something that pops up again when he's on the mound in the division series. So it certainly looks like they'll go Gio Gonzalez Game 2, which will be in Chicago. So that'll give Max a couple extra days to let that hamstring heal. We'll see whether he throws a bullpen session tomorrow on Saturday, and assuming he does, then that would slot him likely to throw Monday against the Cubs.
He's had a lot of little things in the second half of this year, little neck things, just weird things. Is this something that he's had to deal with in the past?
Not to my knowledge, no. This hamstring thing is something that, at least publicly, he said has just kind of popped up on him. And he did acknowledge what you kind of just did, which is that there have been a few small things now that he's had to deal with over the last few months. And
right.
he acknowledged as well that he's frustrated by that. He's not used to his body not allowing him to make 32, 33 starts a year. And so even when it was just the neck issue that he was dealing with that popped up twice during the course of the season, causing him to either miss a start or come out early of a start, that very much frustrated him. And now that it was the calf after he got hit on a comebacker on that left calf, and now it's become a right hamstring cramp, and he said maybe the calf in some way resulted in the hamstring thing. Maybe he was overcompensating for the calf and it led to this. He's not entirely sure, but this is not something that Max Scherzer is used to or enjoys very much. He likes going out there and being able to throw his 110 pitches every single start. So this has frustrated him, but this is what it is, and the Nationals are trying to manage it the best that they can. And I don't think that having Max go Game 3 in Chicago is the worst thing in the world. It kind of leaves an ace in the hole, literally and figuratively, in the Cubs' minds that, that they're going to have to deal with one of the best pitchers in the world in this series.
Is it realistic to think that, just pushing him back a couple days, that hamstring is going to feel drastically different? I just can't imagine it's going to feel that much different. Could be wrong.
You ice it more, you stretch it more, you heat it more.
And I guess I'm asking that is because if they lose tonight and they're down 0-1, is it possible, Dusty, Max and Dusty talk, and Max says, yeah, I can go. Let me take the mound. Let me take the hill for Game 2. We need a win. Is that possible?
I do not believe that's possible. It would need to be without Max Scherzer throwing a bullpen session for them to make that decision, because at least to my knowledge, at least to public view, he has not yet done that. And that's something that pitchers do 2 or 3 days before their start. And Dusty said yesterday that they would not wait until after Game 1 to make a Game 2 starter decision, and they will have to officially, send a starting pitcher to the podium this afternoon for a press conference. I don't know if they can, or, even if they would, pull back on that and make an adjustment. Yes, it's not ideal holding Scherzer back until Game 3, and he and the Nationals would certainly like him to go earlier in the series, because then it would allow him to go Game 5 on normal rest. But they believe this course of action. I've obviously never been a professional athlete. I've never played to that level. I don't know whether 2 days will make a massive difference, but they apparently believe that it will make enough of a difference that they're willing to hold Max back till Game 3 in Chicago to give him that extra time to heal and try and get as close as he can be to full strength.
Dan, how do we properly handicap this series? It's been such a weird season, at least from a fan perspective, right? They haven't really played meaningful baseball that meant anything, in sort of the standings for 2 months. Can they, they acquitted themselves very, very well. It's a testament to them. Won 97 games, and they had this thing wrapped up months ago. Can they kind of switch and get going here? How do you feel about it going in?
That's the big question, right? This is a team that was so consistent all season long. They didn't have a winning streak longer than 7 games. They didn't have a losing streak longer than 4 games. They just, plugged along the entire season, dealt with all the injuries that this roster needed to deal with, and got to the point, thanks in part to a weak division, where they could clinch on September 10th. Now, this Cubs team, on the other hand, is entirely different in that they had very high highs during the season where they were absolutely on fire, and they had low lows during the season where they really struggled. And in the first half of the year, it didn't look like they were a team that was capable of winning a competitive NL Central and making it to this point. So I think if you look at these two teams on paper, the Nationals and the Cubs, it would be very hard to argue that this year's Cubs team is more talented than this year's Nationals.